Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Dan Reviews It. Special guest Merlin here.
Hey.
Joining me for an actor overview.
An actor overview.
This is the first in hopefully a nice series, sort of showcasing in each episode one actor or actress that we really like, kind of looking at their filmography as a whole, and picking a definitive top 5 out of it from the films that we've seen and enjoyed.
And we know what the best top 5 is.
Chris Rock's film.
Yes, top 5.
Yes.
What's your top 5?
We maybe should do a Chris Rock overview.
Oh, no.
That would be more, I think, comedy specials than it would be films.
Yeah.
He's done a few, but...
Not very many great ones that I can recall.
No, not too many.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Another cast,
So, Michael Keaton, I thought we should start with that because he's, I think, an unsung actor. We've talked about it many times on Film Fanatics and off-air as well, about really just how much we enjoy this actor. I think he is both of our favorite Batmans.
That might come up in discussion,
yeah. He's in one of my childhood favorites, which we'll discuss, Beetlejuice. But then some of his later roles have been great as well. You know, he really came back into prominence with Birdman, and then even, before that he was sort of forging his own path, doing whatever he wanted. Need for Speed, I know, is a guilty pleasure of yours.
Yeah.
And he was just having fun in it.
No, I think if there's a theme we might come across, he does seem like he's generally having a good time, usually giving his all. I don't think he really phones it in too much.
No. Even the animated voices that he's done. He was in the Minions, he was in Cars, and he was in Toy Story 3 as the Ken doll, which was great.
That was great.
But even there, he's giving it his all. You can tell, he's really having a good time with these characters.
Oh, no doubt. I think it's weird because he seems like he's an actor that he really had like this huge upscale beat where he was just, had all these big hits in like the late 80s,
Yeah,
early
knocking
90s.
him out.
And then he got kind of almost, I don't want to say forgotten, but he picked a lot of low-key performances.
Yeah, I mean, I can only think of a few really off the top of my head in that time period of, say, like mid-90s through 2010-ish. I mean, you had Multiplicity was a pretty big hit. I've never seen it, but him and Andy McDowell, that was a pretty big hit for him. And then he did that horror movie, which I'm sure you've seen.
White Noise?
White Noise.
I liked it.
But other than that, more minor roles or smaller movies.
Yeah. Yeah, and he I guess he was at that point where he had enough early success that he could kind of do what he wanted.
Yeah.
And not worry too
Which
much.
you can respect.
Definitely. I think you could argue that he's somebody that doesn't necessarily chase the fame or the money. He picks the roles that interest him.
He picks the projects he likes, yeah.
Yeah, and that's cool. I do like that.
Yeah.
But then for some reason he just picked, I guess, probably Birdman.
That really brought him back on the map.
That really was just kind of like, whoa, like if you didn't know already, Michael Keaton is amazing.
Right.
And then he hit like a couple other big ones recently.
Right, then he did Spotlight, and then he was in the Spider-Man, Homecoming.
Yeah.
The Founder. A lot of really good recent movies.
Yeah, and it just seems like it's almost like the Keaton return lately.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think it was ever in dispute that he wasn't a great actor, but it's like more people know now.
But you're right, he was very forgotten for a good probably 15 years. I don't want to say, totally forgotten. But yeah, like he was sort of under the radar.
And I feel like I'm sure we'll talk about it a little more depth, but I think particularly, I mean, I guess with Beetlejuice, but even more so with Batman, I think he really was like responsible for bringing some iconic characters
absolutely
to the big screen and really boosting them in popular culture. And yet I feel like that kind of got overshadowed by other things like Burton, his other films like Depp with Edward Scissorhands, and I think later on with the less comparable Batman films, and then leading into Nolan's movies. It's like people kind of stopped talking about him as much.
Right.
At least younger people probably.
Well, and we've talked about this too. What a big shock it was for everybody in the late 80s when they found out, oh, Michael Keaton's going to be Batman. Like, hell no.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Mom, he's Beetlejuice, he can't, bring it.
That was kind of one of the first examples of like fandom rage before the internet.
It really
like
was.
people, I remember you could look and see old TV spots where people, these comic book nerds would be outside shops being like, Michael Keaton, he'll be terrible in the role. Bruce Wayne doesn't look like that. Mr. Mom, exactly.
Right, right.
That's funny. He was one of the first examples of people kind of hating a actor preemptively.
You're right, and it was right. It was something you obviously there was no internet, or there was, I guess, in its infancy. But right, you would see it on like Entertainment Tonight. Would be at the comic book store, like, hey,
what do fans
Joe
think?
Public, what do you think? Yeah, that's exactly right.
But he proved everyone wrong.
Well, he always does.
Yes,
and that's why no one doubts him anymore.
No, it's like I think that role, ironically, is probably the one that's like, well, he could pretty much do anything.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, so let's go back to some of these early '80s ones. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen Night Shift, but that was it was rated R, so I saw that after Beetlejuice and some of the other comedies of the '80s. But in high school, my parents showed me that. It's him and Henry Winkler, the Fonz, and Shelley Long from Cheers, and they basically run a mortuary, I guess, and then Keaton does his Keaton thing and has prostitutes come in and turns it into kind of like a sex thing. And,
what a morgue!
Wow. What a morgue! Yeah. So, but that was really his first big roles, his first feature film in any sort of starring or co-starring role.
Okay.
And it's very funny.
Okay.
Very funny. So check that one out. Then the very next one was Mr. Mom.
And I feel like I may have seen it, but it's been so long.
Yeah, I rewatched it today. It's the only one I had time to watch, but I had seen it a long, long time ago, probably.
Like 30 years ago or
probably
something?
Close to 30 years, yeah. We rented it when it first hit VHS. It's a great movie. It's very funny. Lots of stars in it. You've got Jeffrey Tambor as his boss. You've got Terry Garr as his wife. Martin Mull plays her boss. It's certainly a bit dated with the themes of like, oh my gosh, a man is running the house,
taking care of the kids. Oh no!
I mean, my own dad did that when I was in high school. So even maybe 10 years after the fact, it was a little dated. But
interesting.
But it's it still holds up as a funny movie. And Keaton is being himself. And then I missed the next few: Johnny Dangerously, Gung Ho. I don't even know some of these. Touch and Go, The Squeeze, I don't know those.
Nope.
And then you had Beetlejuice in '88.
Have you seen that one?
That was, okay, for me, this was like all-time favorite in the house. We watched it on the weekly, I would say. Always a classic. And it's one I come back to every year or two. I'll watch it, and it never ceases to just bring the hilarity. I mean, he's so funny in it. And then, of course, Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin as the dead couple. But it's his show. It's his movie completely. And then, speaking of show, then they had the cartoon. Which I guess he wasn't a part of, but...
No, but I do remember it. I think I liked it. It was very, very interesting
cartoon. It was successful. I mean, it ran, I think, 3 years or something.
It's not bad, yeah.
And I don't know if it was an everyday one or a Saturday morning, but yeah, I mean, it was quite popular.
Yeah, I do remember that one.
And that's all because of Keaton.
You think so? Because I think I think if I remember correctly, the animated version, they did try to model it after his style.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, Burton was wise to get him in the role if he's the one that picked him.
Probably.
But, like, I can't imagine another actor playing that role,
Yeah, he was probably born to play Beetlejuice. Yeah. That role was probably made for him. And, I remember watching it when I was a kid, and I think it definitely weirded me out. I don't know if I want to say it scared me, but it was kind of odd and
weird
disturbing.
Movie.
Yeah, in a creepy way. And I feel like it's one of those ones that, I didn't really appreciate as much when I was younger, because I didn't come back to it as much. It wasn't really a favorite of mine. But watching it a few more times as an adult, I definitely appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah. It's got a lot of adult humor in it.
Yeah,
and
mostly.
Not just from Beetlejuice, but just some of the sidelines and stuff from the characters. It's for a PG movie, it's pretty adult.
It's pretty mature
in its tone.
And kind of dark.
Very dark.
Kind of horrific in a comical way.
Yeah.
Some of the contortions and the deaths and the undead people.
Yes, it is very comic booky.
Maybe that's...
and maybe that...
Inspiration?
Maybe, yeah.
Which is weird, because tonally, very different, though.
Yes, oh yeah.
But yeah, for you, I guess, Beetlejuice was kind of like the iconic Keaton role.
Yeah, I mean, because I never saw... I saw a few scenes of the original Batman back in the day, but even still maybe 5 years after the fact. But then I had never seen either Batman or Batman Returns in full until I had met you and you showed them to me for Film Fanatics.
Well, I had to do that.
You did, because it was certainly a gap in my movie viewing experiences. But yeah, so for me, my entire life pretty much, like, Beetlejuice was the iconic Keaton role. And I could see, like, if they made it in the 90s instead of the 80s, I could see maybe Jim Carrey doing it.
Yeah.
He would have done a good job with it.
Yeah.
Maybe Robin Williams. There's another one that probably could have put his stamp on it, but it would have been different.
It would have been, I mean, I guess you're going for more of that animated physicality, improv style.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little, like, kind of naughty humor, but not overly so. Like they all kind of did. It was all subtlety.
Like Carrie in The Mask.
Exactly.
Which they also made into a cartoon.
And Robin Williams had a lot of...
And he had a lot of roles like that, too.
Like that as well, yeah.
But so then, we do get into the Batman here in a little bit. Clean and Sober, I've never seen. That's a drama. That was like his first big drama, which I've never seen. The Dream Team, one of my favorites. The one right before Batman. It was released, I think, 2 months before. It's Keaton, Christopher Lloyd, the great Peter Boyle.
Oh, I feel like that should be one I would like, just by the cast alone.
Yeah. You know what? I might loan it to you.
Seriously, I'll watch it.
Where are the D's here? I'm sure I have it.
Oh, this will be good. You got Dan in Real Life. That's a good one.
I do have Dan in Real Life. The Dream Team. Do I have it?
Can you show it off with the camera?
This is a great movie. Yeah, I'm going to loan this to you.
Sweet.
And, I mean, a classic Keaton here. Yeah, this is a very funny movie. They're mental patients that go out on a day away, and they get lost in the big city, and it's hilarious.
Not politically correct.
Probably not. Probably not in these days. But Keaton makes it work as usual.
Sweet.
So yeah, you'll have to see that.
I'll check it out.
But so then you've got the first Batman.
What's that?
This is a film spawned by the DC comic of the same name.
Interesting.
I mean, and we've talked about these two movies, at length on Film Fanatics. But I mean, he is my favorite Batman.
Well,
I would say.
Why is that for you?
Because I think he matches the best parts of a lot of different Batman. Now, for you, of course, you saw this before many other people had played the role.
Yeah, I mean,
it was Adam West and then Michael Keaton.
From your, I'll interject here briefly. I want to hear your opinion because it is a bit more separated. As an adult reviewer, kind of formulating your ideas.
Yeah,
I will say that for me, I will admit that he was probably my first exposure to Batman because that I don't think I saw the cartoon away either because that it technically came out before a couple years before the animated series. So for me,
what about the '60s show? Did you ever watch that growing up?
Because
I always watched that in reruns.
I remember on TV I saw a couple episodes of the Adam West show like on reruns, but so I knew who Batman was generally. But when I was very little, those movies, as dark as they were, common theme in my upbringing, I did end up.
You're right.
I did end up seeing them, and so for that was definitely my Batman initially.
Okay.
And everyone's kind of had to be held up to that standard, and with the exception of maybe Kevin Conroy animated.
Right.
I mean, live action, I still think he's definitely the best one. But go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I had seen them after even the Bale movies, so it's like, and I had never seen the Clooney one, but I saw the Val Kilmer because I was a big Carrey fan, so I watched Batman Forever. Come on. Yeah. Kilmer I had seen. I'd seen some of the animated stuff. Who voiced him? Was it Conroy on Batman the Animated Series?
Yeah, Kevin Conroy.
Okay, I wasn't sure if that was just for the films that they made or not.
Oh, that's been most of the spin-offs have been him too.
Okay, so I knew him from the animated series. I don't think seen any of the animated films until I had met you.
I know, yeah, Mask of Phantasm and a couple other ones I showed you.
Yeah. So I've seen them now, but I did watch some episodes of the animated series when it was on in the 90s. So I knew that, and then I knew the Christopher Nolan ones, which at the time I liked. But yeah, as time went on, I really, I'm not a huge Bale.
You don't like Christian Bale
that much. I don't like Bale that much. I have to agree with that. But he is in a lot of roles I like. I like him in American Hustle and some other things. But yeah, so for me, I had a lot of other people to compare Keaton to, and I just think he brings really the best of all of them. He's not certainly in the campy category as Adam West.
Not really.
But, he's not as deadly serious as Bale. But the thing I've learned over the years, and I think maybe it was sadly Batman v Superman that really hit this point home.
Oh, no.
Because I like Affleck as Batman.
True.
I think you need to not only be a good Batman, but you need to be a good Bruce.
True.
And a lot of people that have portrayed him, I think, miss that part of it.
That's comes up a lot in discussion.
And
I think you're right.
God rest Adam West's soul, but I think he wasn't much of a Bruce Wayne. He was a great Batman.
He was.
But I don't think he was that good of a Bruce Wayne.
I mean, I think he definitely, did a good job acting-wise, but he just kind of played your standard gentlemanly rich guy, really.
Yeah. Keaton and Burton added a lot of nuance to the character.
Well, as a comic book person, it's interesting you say that, because I think a lot of people might disagree with Keaton in this aspect, because his portrayal was very different from how Wayne's portrayed.
Oh, absolutely.
Not conventionally handsome, kind of really sociable, rich playboy. This Bruce Wayne, he's still rich, and he's very quirky, but he's kind of secluded. He's socially awkward. He clearly seems like a guy who has problems.
Yes.
And maybe a little off kilter mentally, but I think oddly enough, if you were going to do a realistic Batman, that's probably more what it would be.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that is what he brought to the role that maybe was not previously there.
Even though they are more comic booky than the Nolan ones, theoretically, it's a more believable portrayal.
Yeah, I think it's more grounded portrayal. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So that would be how I would say that. Next couple I haven't seen, more drama from him. Pacific Heights, One Good Cop, Batman Returns. We don't really need to talk more about that. And then a few of these I have not seen. I have seen The Paper.
Okay, how's that?
Now, The Paper, it's good. It's a lot like Spotlight in the respect... Well, first of all, they both take place at a paper, but this one takes place over 24 hours. Ron Howard directs, and it's another star-studded cast. Duvall plays the boss. Glenn Close is in it. Marissa Tomei plays Keaton's wife, who is also at The Paper.
So was Duvall the apostle or the judge in this one?
Duvall was more of a judge of them as their boss.
As the editor.
As the editor, yeah. But it's a very good movie. Like, it actually, thinking about it compared to Spotlight, they sort of, dovetail nicely, because I think Spotlight has a more interesting premise and story, and certainly some great actors there as well.
Oh yeah.
But The Paper is more fast-paced, frenetic, because it all takes place within a day, and it's sort of a day in the life of here's what a major newspaper goes through. In the 90s, and even then, readership was falling, and they were cutting budgets and whatnot. So. We saw that, but that was a good one. And then most of these I don't know then until we get to Jackie Brown.
I would like to talk about Jackie Brown for a second.
Absolutely, I figured you would. It's one of your favorites.
Yeah, Jackie Brown is probably. I mean, it's hard. It's probably my favorite Tarantino, or maybe that's.
I think it is from the conversations we've had. I would say
I think it just kind of irritates me because. It's such a good movie, but it's the one Tarantino movie that nobody really talks about.
Correct.
And maybe that's because it's the least Tarantino of his, because it wasn't written by him.
Maybe.
But I just think it's such a really good, and I guess once again a really grounded, more realistic story.
Yes.
I think that Pam Grier, it's the only movie I've really ever seen her in.
Fantastic. Yeah, I've never seen her in anything. I know her, but...
But, I mean, in terms of being a strong female character who's not overly action-oriented, she's really good. And... I really liked, and Sam Jackson. I think he plays
another great role for him.
Honestly, maybe one of the best villains he's ever played, minus Mr. Glass.
Well, Mr. Glass is in a league of his own.
The thing about Michael Keaton is his role in it is relatively minor. He's like a supporting character, but he does a good job in it.
Yeah,
like he's the one ATF guy that he actually kind of sympathizes with Jackie Brown a little bit. He's like, he wants to try and help her a little, even though he's still... Like, I forget, he's playing opposite to another guy who's a bit more of an a-hole, and he's kind of the good cop.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all there is, but I liked him in it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it was one of those, like, Tarantino picked him out because his career was sort of waning a little bit, he wasn't as popular.
But, I mean, to be picked by Tarantino...
he has the touch,
Yeah.
I mean, people say, oh, Tarantino resurrected John Travolta's career, which is true.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was always making movies. I mean, he was in the Look Who's Talking series, which was popular just a few years before.
He was still a name.
He's still, but Tarantino brought him back,
Yeah,
definitely. And certainly he's done that with a lot of people over the years.
True.
Okay. Oh, the classic Jack Frost. I never saw that. Did you see that as a kid?
Well, let's see. It came out in 98. Yes, I was a kid in 98. As a kid...
I was in college by that point. I had no interest in Jack Frost.
As a kid, Jack Frost seemed okay, I guess. I didn't love it, but
I real stupid, though.
Well, it's about a guy who...
He dies and
resurrected as a snowman to try and be with his son.
Yeah.
It's weird, and the 90s CGI of the snowman's a little creepy.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I feel like it's an unfortunately weird and kind of dumb kids movie that's not really that good. But once again, good vocal work from Keaton. I think
he brings it all.
He does try to add some drama to the...
I'm sure there's probably some emotional scenes
with the snowman, but I'm just like, I can't do it. Like, I can't go back. I don't think Jack Frost is going to make the classic cuts.
I would like to watch that. Maybe this Christmas we'll check it out.
If you want to review
Sounds like
Jack
a good
Frost,
drinking game movie.
Yes.
Jack Frost the drinking
I'm down.
game.
I'm down for that.
I think that would be all right. We could do that.
That movie is
all right, then more that I don't know, but then we get to White Noise here in 2005. So here we've got, we go Jack Frost in 98 to White Noise in 2005. There's only like 4 movies between the two.
Did we miss so much Ado About Nothing? Just curious.
Oh, we did. Have you seen that one?
I saw that.
Yeah, that's early 90s.
I think high school or college.
Okay.
I was taking a Shakespeare
class.
I may
have seen the Keaton version of that.
He's a minor character. Shakespearean movie. Thought he did a good job.
Okay.
That's all I have to say about that. Not
very good.
But that one I wanted to mention because I saw it once.
Yeah. So talk about White Noise because I've never seen it.
I don't know if I'm in the minority on this because it's I saw it when I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of another ghost kind of movie, but I think the concept is interesting. That as a radio person, you might like this.
The static,
an audiophile, the white noise you hear, there might be messages that come through.
Okay.
And I thought it was cool. He kind of investigates it and gets some messages from the other side with ghosts, and more importantly, that there are evil, dark shadow people that are trying to go after people, and he's
much like the dark shadow people in Ghost.
Yes, very similar actually, and once again, probably a pretty standard ghost horror movie. I'd have to watch it again to remember the details, but he wasn't bad in it. I remember that it genuinely creeped me out.
I never watched it because it's too creepy for me.
It's creepy. It's one of those things that the monster is almost beyond your comprehension. So it's scary. I thought it was scary based on memory. And he was decent in it.
Okay.
When I thought about Michael Keaton before, I was like, oh yeah, it's Batman's in that movie. I'll check that out. It's one of those things. But it was. From what I remember, I thought it was a decently creepy horror movie.
I feel like that was his kind of 1 hour photo. That's Keaton's one bid for really creepy,
dark, disturbing.
Role. Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't the bad guy in it. He was I forget if he was a disc jockey, radio journalist, or a reporter or something.
It's not quite 1 hour photo where he's not the creep.
No, he's not possessed by ghosts or anything, but he is investigating what's going on. So it's interesting. I think it's worth a watch.
I might check it out now that I've seen a lot more horror movies. It's probably
thought it was okay. Yeah, I thought it was all right.
Okay, now Herbie Fully Loaded. I've only seen portions of, but I remember that came out when I was at Hollywood Video.
I like the classic Herbies.
And I love the classic Herbies, which is why I checked it out. And I like Lindsay Lohan. I liked Freaky Friday and some of her early movies. So, but that kind of started a lot of his kids' movies. He did Jack Frost 6 years ago, but then just the next year he does Cars, which he plays Chick Hicks. Look, we can talk about Cars to death. I thought the first Cars was very good. I really do.
I mean, I still think it was probably the weaker.
Will it pale in comparison to some of these others, obviously? But I think the first Cars is a solid movie. It is Doc Hollywood, as we've talked about, which is a great movie.
Hollywood, great movie. Doc Hollywood, yeah.
But anyway, so he did the Cars voice. Some of these I don't know here. Post Grad, I saw. Terrible movie.
Never saw it.
It's the girl from Gilmore Girls and the dude from Friday Night Lights, which is why I love that show. So I watched it.
All right.
He plays the dad. It's him and I forget who the mom is, but his mom is Carol Burnett, who I love.
All right.
But it's just a bad movie.
I'll take your word for it.
But then up next, you've got 2010, two great movies. Toy Story 3 is one of the all-time great animated films.
It was very good.
I think everyone knows that.
It's my favorite.
There's not much dispute, I think, there. In the Pixar canon, it's top tier for sure. Top 3, I would say, for any movie fan.
Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3
among the other Toy Story
No, among the
movies.
Pixar movies. Shut up. Among the Pixar movies. Like for you, it would be probably Incredibles, something else, and then Toy Story 3 would be in there.
Yeah.
But then, so he plays the Ken doll, which is hilarious.
It was good, yeah.
But then the other guys, have you ever seen that? It's Will Ferrell and Wahlberg.
I saw it once. It was funny. It was really funny.
Yeah, he plays the captain.
Yep.
And they give him a lot of these really funny, bizarre lines. He keeps quoting the band TLC, which is a funny gag. And that, for me, was the first time I had really seen him, because I think I saw that before I saw Postgrad. It's the first time I had seen him in probably close to a decade.
For you? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because,
Okay.
I mean, he had a voice in Cars, but I mean, actually seeing him.
Okay, so I'd seen him a little bit before you did for a while.
Yeah. But that's a really funny movie.
That was good, yeah.
Some of these I don't know. Okay. Then okay. So then we have the RoboCop. That was 2014 was an interesting year because
Yes.
you had Birdman, which we'll talk about.
We'll get there.
But before that, you had RoboCop and Need for Speed. So
some history here.
yeah, this is Film Fanatics 101.
This is we're getting into when we started to get in our prime.
This was like first year of Film Fanatics, and RoboCop was a big sticking point. You had showed me the original right before the new one came out, which I loved. I mean, it's an A+.
Fantastic.
It's one of the great action movies, maybe of all time. I don't know.
Such a good film.
This new one was awful. I mean, I think I gave it a D.
I think I failed it.
You might have failed it.
Which I did on principle. Maybe technically it was a bit harsh, but I just on a personal level, I was just like offended by it.
Yeah.
I don't know, because all right, technically
it was so bad.
The movie's like mediocre and dumb, but it's an insult.
Yes, that's what it is. It's sort of like that Total Recall they did. Like the movie itself is okay.
It was really bad.
But then when you compare the source material, it's like why did they make this garbage? Like if you're gonna remake something, at least make it as good, if not adding something.
No,
but this RoboCop was terrible.
Yeah, man, I remember when that came out. I saw it with a couple friends, like the premiere night, which the theater was like pretty much empty, by the way.
Well, of course,
so
it was. Word of mouth, I think, got out.
And I put up, I think my longest single vlog review about any movie.
I think it was.
I think it was like a 20 or 30 minute
rant about how awful.
About how I hated this movie.
Wait, he plays the cop, the boss or something, right?
He played the head of OCP, like the head of the corporation.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
And I will say this, it's RoboCop 2014 is really bad, remake, but Michael Keaton was a pretty decent villain in it, if I remember correctly.
I think that's the only reason I didn't fail it.
It was like I did like him in
that, and then the one CGI effect where like they had basically the beating heart in a tube or whatever. That was pretty cool.
I guess some of the visuals were
cool.
Like I said, there were some good things about it, but I just hated
Keaton
most things.
Was the best part of it for sure.
Yeah,
you're right.
But he clearly was having fun as the bad guy.
Yes.
And then we lead to another one.
And then we lead to Need for Speed, another
great
movie
film
where he's having fun in the guilty pleasure spectrum of Merlin. It comes up a lot.
I don't know what. Look, I'm sorry, and I know
it's an okay film.
Look,
at best, it is an okay film.
It's dumb, but I mean, if you compare it to the Fast and Furious movies, it's about on that level.
But it's more of a one-man show because it's really Jesse
Pinkman,
his name, Aaron Paul. Thank you.
But
it's basically the him and Keaton show.
But
it's so stupid.
It was stupid, but I mean, you got car chases, you got motivation, you got action, and you've got Michael Keaton being like a really high narrator guy, just waxing philosophical about racing.
And I didn't mind that part because of my DJ background.
But he's just like the underground DJ.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
It was a bad movie, though.
It's like, what is he? It's like, you live for the road.
You know it was a bad movie.
He's just like, yes. I know it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad, but it was so entertainingly bad.
It was all right.
It was, but he was having so much fun.
Yes, he was.
In that role.
He was clearly having a great time. He clearly picked it because it spoke to him in some way, and he thought he could have fun with it. And he did.
He did. And I think if you have fun with Need for Speed like he does, and don't take it that seriously, it's a good drinking movie at least.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun. It's fine.
And then you get to Birdman.
Yeah.
Or what is it? The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance?
Yes, the more pretentious title.
Yeah. Wow, I got it right.
You did. Actually, good job. I wouldn't.
Thank you. It's a great movie. Was it? I think it was.
You didn't like it quite as
I think
much.
it was your number one of the year. I think it might have also been Justin's. I think it was my number 11. It was good.
Well,
I
wait
gave
a
it an
minute.
A.
No.
I gave it an A, but it was not up to that top tier.
I think it might have been.
I think it was.
I thought Calvary was my number one. Or was no.
No, it was your number 2, I think.
Yeah, that's right. But it made our top 10, which hence the Calvary excitement.
Calvary, excitement when we realized that it was an awesome.
Because I
loved that movie too.
Yeah.
And Whiplash, I think, was up there as well for everybody.
Whiplash was really good.
So that year did have some good movies.
2014 was
featuring
pretty
drumming.
Yes, both.
But
yeah.
Birdman wasn't quite as high on my list, but it was an A. I mean, it's a great movie.
Well, yeah, I watched it again recently.
Okay.
I mean,
I've only seen it the once.
You should watch it again.
Okay.
Performances are all good. Cinematography, everything is really good.
Yeah.
Just a really fantastically shot and edited movie. But he goes all in that performance.
Yeah, I mean,
I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might agree with me on this. I just feel like as a performance, you can't top that because he goes so.
I would say it is probably his finest performance,
and it's also kind of
Yes.
as another layer of being a commentary on his own career in some ways.
Well, I think that's why it was so important that he played the role.
Because it was
because it was him as Batman, as Birdman. It all comes together. One of my biggest gripes with it was the Emma Stone bit.
As the daughter.
Yeah, they just didn't do enough with her. But
a little bit, yeah.
We don't need to talk about that. But yes, Keaton did go all in.
Yeah.
Because I think it was a very personal project for him. Because of that. Because he was Batman for so long. And you could tell as we're going through chronologically, after Batman, he was doing a lot of drama stuff.
He was
doing a lot of shit. He did that much ado about nothing and did some indies. So he really was trying to differentiate himself. I mean, he didn't do an action movie for a long time after.
Yeah, he didn't really. He tried not to really.
Jackie Brown might have been his first foray into action
thriller,
after that.
Yeah,
and that was 8 years later.
It's true.
Yeah,
trying to distance himself from it, and ironically, trying to finally go back into the height of the superhero craze and do this interesting commentary.
Right, because by 2014, we were fully entrenched in the MCU.
And with that being said, that's ironically the movie that does get him back on the map in maybe a bigger way than ever.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it certainly got him his first Oscar nomination, which...
I think he could have gotten nominated for things before that.
Well, he could have gotten nominated for things before that. But look, I love Eddie Redmayne. I hate him. One of the worst.
Wow.
But he did.
Jupiter Ascending.
But he did do well. Jupiter Ascending, please. But he did do well as Hawking.
It was a good movie.
It was a good movie, and did he deserve to win for Hawking? I guess so. But Keaton was so good in Birdman. I really wanted him to win.
I think
I did.
He won in a lot of people's hearts.
He won in my heart.
Yeah.
Your heart always.
Yeah.
Number one Keaton fan.
Just about.
So then there's only a few more. Minions he was in. Did another voice role there. And then these last three, not counting American Assassin because that was not good.
I didn't want to see that.
I watched that on DVD when it came out. It wasn't good. But these three here are all really great movies.
He had 3 really good years.
Spotlight. There's another one. I mean... I briefly mentioned it when we talked about the movie The Paper, but Mark Ruffalo is good in this movie.
Everyone's
the
good in
whole
it.
cast is so good. Who's the gal? It's Rachel McAdams,
right?
Yeah. Listen, she's great in just about everything. But Keaton, this is another one of his finest roles.
Yeah,
coming hot off of Birdman, and then he does this Spotlight movie. He's great.
He's really good.
He's really good. The subject material is very heavy.
It's rough, yeah.
But he's always... Here's the thing I like about him. He's always authentic in whatever he's playing, whether it is something silly, like a Beetlejuice or a Dream Team or a Mr. Mom, to something dark, like a Batman, to this very heavy drama. He's great in all of it. And it always rings true. You can always tell he's Michael Keaton. It's never like he's Daniel Day-Lewis or Streep or something, where it's sometimes you lose them in the role. It's always Keaton.
Okay.
But every character is different.
Yes.
It's not like how everyone's Clooney because everyone's Clooney.
Or everyone's Jackson or something.
Oh, I like Clooney.
Yeah.
Or Jackson, yes, is another one.
But they're kind of always
the same. Keaton is always Keaton, but every role is different.
He's a different Keaton.
Yeah, he's a different Keaton.
Different mode of Keaton.
40 Shades of Keaton.
I was about to say, like 6 degrees.
So after Spotlight, you had The Founder.
You know...
Which, I'm sorry, it kind of came and went. I thought it was a great movie.
I thought that was brilliant.
You and I both gave it, I think, in that B+, A- range.
It was a kind of a standard bio, but he played a really dynamic character.
He really did. Well, and I think so did the McDonald brothers.
Yes.
The three of them just had great chemistry together and all played the hell out of their roles.
Definitely. I kind of wanted to see more of their side of it, like a movie about them.
I know. I would have liked that too.
Would have been good too, because you'd think that's what it's about, but it's about not necessarily the founding McDonald's, but the franchise of it.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, it speaks to the writing and directing too, but to play a kind of character that it's very rare, much like a Walter White, where they start off as the underdog, the hero,
right,
and then by the end of the movie, they're the villain.
He turns into a real slime ball.
I'm like, that to do that transition is tough and make it work, and he just does it, and I'm like, wow, I
Did you not know he had it in him?
No, I knew it, but like just as a character, like I found myself really sympathizing and rooting for him, and then kind of hating him by the end.
Right, because he really screwed those guys over.
Yeah, and I felt really bad for those guys.
Yeah.
And in a way, that's kind of the evil corporate powerhouse that McDonald's is because of this guy.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's really a good movie. If you guys have not seen The Founder, it's really a strong movie.
Founder's a really good movie.
Yeah. And then we close it up with the Spider-Man Homecoming.
I get to talk about Spider-Man again?
So, I mean, now, you and I have a standalone review on this channel.
Probably link
You have your own, I will link it. You have your own, I believe, Spider-Man Homecoming review.
I did.
With the Merlin cast.
I did.
So, obviously, we've talked at length, but this is...
It's worth talking about, though.
I mean, and you're the one that I think pointed this out to me, because you obviously have a more in-depth sort of look at these comic book movies.
Loved Spider-Man comics
by far than me.
Growing up.
But, you pointed out probably about 5 years ago that Marvel's biggest problem is their villains.
Yeah, a lot of people picked up on that.
And I hadn't really thought much about it. It was before we were doing Film Fanatics, so I never thought about it. And you said that, and I thought, that's absolutely correct.
Now, if there's one big flaw the MC movies have had is that most of their villains kind of suck.
And they've gotten better. Guardians 2, certainly.
Guardians 2.
I haven't seen Infinity War yet, but...
Loki's pretty good.
Yeah.
And,
Loki is
you saw
good.
Black Panther, right?
I did see Black Panther.
Black Panther,
yep,
great
that was
villain.
good.
No spoilers, and I haven't seen it, but Thanos, that's all I'll say about that.
I figured.
Like really... I won't tell, but fantastic. But
here...
This is like the beginning of...
oh my God.
People, somebody on the team was like, okay, they've been hounding us about this for years. Let's try to make a really good villain. And let's get Michael Keaton to play him.
Yeah.
And he's got to come back into a comic book role, a mainstream one again. Play a villain. Play a grounded...
That's what's so brilliant
human
about
villain,
it, yes.
But also play a villain who's a character that is kind of obscure.
Yeah, I never heard of him.
Like the Vulture.
Never heard of him.
Like, I think I mentioned this. The Vulture's like my favorite Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
Weird, convoluted reason. Don't know why exactly. Just always liked the character somehow. Angry old guy, wanted revenge against the world. I don't know. But
yeah, great motivation.
Great motivation. Different. Spider-Man fight. One of his oldest villains is literally an elderly guy in a bird suit that comes back to fight him every week.
Right.
So, I kind of respect that. I don't know what it is. But the point is, they take that character, they give it to Michael Keaton, and he just plays it brilliantly.
Oh my God. And
that twist. The twist.
It's one of the best movie twists, certainly for a superhero movie, I've ever seen.
And dude, I just will never forget.
Remember when we went on Thursday for the premiere, which I usually can't make it to, but not only was it packed, but when the twist is revealed, the collective gasp. I've never heard anything like that.
That was
in movie
so
theater.
good.
It was awesome, and I was one of them. I gasped with everybody because you didn't see it coming.
And as a comic book fan, that wasn't in the comics. That twist.
Right,
so it was so that's why everyone was like, "Whoa, we didn't see that coming."
Yeah, that was brilliant, and he played it off so well.
Yeah,
and even just in the tag scene, I guess it's the end credit scene, not the mid credits. But when he's in the jail and the dude comes to him, and he's like, "Oh, hey, I heard who Spider-Man is or whatever," and just his delivery when he responds to that dude is classic Keaton. And it doesn't get better than that.
He goes once again, he goes all in, committed to becoming this character, and he does it with so much charisma while still being Keaton.
Like when Keaton, the first thing he does before he responds to this jerk is he does like this sort of like scoffing, like like he conveys more in that little scoff moment than a lot of people convey in a whole movie. Like it's just I can't get over it.
It's good.
You know? So with that's the latest. He is going to be in this new Dumbo live action, which
who's he playing?
Disney. Maybe the ringleader or something. V.A. Vandermeer.
I don't remember that.
I have not seen Dumbo in a long, long time.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is. But he's third billed. Oh, here you go. A ruthless and enigmatic entrepreneur who acquires a circus to exploit Dumbo. Yeah, so he's the villain. Again.
All right.
Love it.
Cool.
And they've been doing a great job, with the Disney live action. So I'm sure it'll be good. So let's do it. Let's talk about the definitive top 5 Keaton roles. We decided, Batman is one role.
That's easy.
So both movies, I think that's an easy number 1.
You think so? More than Beetlejuice? That surprises me. I thought you were going to fight me on that.
Well, I'm not going to fight you, and here's why. For me personally, it's Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
But
is
just
it 2 movies, maybe?
Well, it's that he, Beetlejuice, he kind of created a character, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But Batman, he, as we talked about, he tackled something that had existed for 60 years.
The expectation was pretty high.
The expectation was high, and he knocks it out of the park. Mm-hmm. And to be both of our favorite Batmans in a sea of many, many Batmans that are out there. Batmen. I gotta go with it as the number 1.
Yeah, I mean, that would be my go-to. I think that's just, maybe not technically his best, but just so iconic.
Yeah.
So important, definitive. It's easily up there for me.
Yeah.
Batman Returns is one of my favorite movies.
It really is. And I agree with you. I think it's better than the first one.
DeVito? Well, no, you like Catwoman more. You like Michelle Pfeiffer.
I actually did like Catwoman the most in that one, yes. Yeah. Although, of course, I like DeVito as well.
Of course, yeah.
So after that, where do we go? I mean,
that's the tough part.
Again, Beetlejuice for me. But Birdman is certainly...
Yeah, that was my number 2 as well.
Was it? Okay, that was my number 3.
Okay.
I hate to put Beetlejuice so far down, but Birdman probably deserves number 2 because it's, again, a more challenging role.
Yeah.
It brought him back into the consciousness of the world, and with good reason.
Definitely.
And it is something, like we said, that comes from his heart and spoke to him as an actor, and that's why I think it resonates so well.
I definitely agree with that.
So I don't mind putting that at number 2.
Okay.
A nice Birdman.
Okay, I was probably thinking that too.
But
this might be where it gets tricky.
We gotta put Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
At number 3.
All right.
This was for me my childhood, as we've said. And you watched it with me a few years ago.
All right. Well, I'll tell you.
And you liked it more.
Beetlejuice did make my top 5.
Okay.
It did make my top 5. But I put it
pretty low.
I put it no. Okay. It was my number 4.
Number 4. Okay.
Only because I don't have as much of a love for it.
Yeah.
I actually put The Founder above that because I really liked his role in The Founder.
God, The Founder's so I know, so good in The Founder.
But if you want to put it at 3, I'm cool with that. I think it's more if we're staying iconic. It's got to be top 3.
I think that's when he became cemented as a comedy legend.
Yeah.
Mr. Mom, people enjoyed, but it was obviously more grounded. It was a more realistic story.
And now it's more dated than Beetlejuice.
Actually, yeah, you're not wrong about that. But I think if somebody, if you said to somebody, what are the iconic Keaton roles?
It's gotta come
I think Batman and Beetlejuice would probably be the 2.
The first
Maybe
2.
not Birdman.
No, not
quite
first.
yet, but yeah. So I think Beetlejuice is a good number 3.
Definitely. Now it gets tricky.
So now it gets very tricky. So The Founder's a good one. So my number 4 was Spider-Man.
That was actually going to be my number 5, but I'll keep it at number 4.
Okay, because I think, as we've discussed, the villain problem, and he just nails it.
And I'll admit that's definitely a bit more of a personal lean for me, getting it in there. But he does do such a good job with this minor comic book villain. It makes him one of the best villains in the MCU.
Which is, there's a lot of movies. There's a lot of villains. Yeah.
And I'm serious. I like him. I think he's much more interesting than Loki.
Yeah.
I'm tired of Loki.
Very complex.
Very complex, grounded, realistic, believable in a way.
Yeah.
Like just for a comic movie.
I'm okay with that at number 4. That was my number 4.
Sweet.
My original number 5 was Dream Team, which I know you haven't seen. But as we're talking here,
okay.
So you would still like to see The Founder in the top 5?
I could, but I could.
Here's my number 5 now, and see what you think of this.
Okay.
Spotlight.
I was actually just thinking that was like right below.
Because The Founder is
my number 6.
Great, and you're right. How he goes from a really liked character, underdog, to this scum.
That's tough.
Holding people over. Spotlight. He is himself through and through, but it's a dynamite performance.
It's dynamite for sure. Yeah.
And it's the only one I would say on our list that would be. I mean, I guess Birdman is dramatic, but Birdman also has some comedy elements.
It's silly. It's
and
fantasy.
Some fantasy elements.
Yeah.
Spotlight is the one straight drama role that I think he has. The Founder is pretty dramatic, but that again has some comedy elements. So I would fight for Spotlight at number 5, to be honest.
I'm perfectly fine with that, because thinking about it, like I was originally thinking before we talking that Spotlight, it was more of a conventional type of role, but he does add so much gravitas, and you're right, that comment about how believable it is and how he goes, he made this character that could seem like just kind of a standard reporter,
right?
And you really felt like you knew him and his journey.
Yeah,
like that's tough to do. That was that's a really good movie.
I kind of want to watch it again.
Yeah, I was thinking it's not exactly one you want to like pump through.
It's heavy. It's a heavy movie, but God,
I could watch it
good.
again. I could watch it again.
Yeah,
definitely.
So I think that's a good top 5. So you got Spotlight number 5, Spider-Man: Homecoming number 4, Beetlejuice number 3.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Birdman. And number 1, Bruce Wayne Batman.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's a pretty good top 5.
That's pretty solid top 5.
Yeah, man. And then we'll give honorable mention, obviously, to The Founder.
Yeah.
And for me, The Dream Team.
Dream Team.
Another great comedy role.
I thought you'd be fighting more for Mr. Mom, honestly.
It's so dated, though. It is funny. He does good in it, but it's like... I think... He's wackier in The Dream Team. I kind of like the wacky Keaton sometimes.
All right. Well, I'll have to watch it. I will definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be like number 1 after this.
I don't know about that. Over Batman, yeah.
Probably not going to happen. But.
All right. Well, so that is the Michael Keaton
show.
Look at his filmography. Yeah. An actor's overview.
Yeah, man.
As we call it.
We love Keaton, if that wasn't clear.
Yeah, and we'll do more of these. Maybe one a month or something. We'll just take a different actor or actress and pump it out. Maybe next will be Diane Keaton. We'll just keep the Keaton theme. And then Michael J. Fox, who played Alex P. Keaton on Family Ties.
It's just going to be it really is going to be the Keaton show for a while.
Oh, no. Maybe not.
Not.
But yeah, we had to start with Keaton.
Yeah, man.
Unsung hero, I think,
of
acting.
I'll do more of these.
Yeah.
I've seen enough movies. I could talk about a couple actors, I think.
Yeah, for sure. So thanks for watching. Like I said, we'll put up the link to my Spider-Man review. I'll put up a link to yours as well from the Merlin channel. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Take care.
See ya.